What's going on YouTube? So the Honda Pilot, of course, is a perennial favorite among American families, as you can tell by the sheer number of them you see out on the road. While not yet all new, Honda continues to make updates each year, and 2022 is no different, with some extra equipment and reconfiguring of the trim levels. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the review and see what's new for 2022. So I want to start things off just by going ahead and talking about two of the 22 changes that really don't fit anywhere into this review specifically. One change, you have Sonic Gray Pearl as a new paint color option, and the second change is the discontinuation of both the LX and the EX trim levels this year. So now there's going to be basically a new trim level, which Honda has not released yet, that's going to replace both of those trim levels. The rumor has it that it will be a sport trim level, which will replace both of them. But for the time being, that now makes the base trim level the EXL trim level. So keep that in mind. Now, let's take a look at the styling. So of course, nothing has really changed for 2022. You still got that signature Pilot fascia here, which was updated last in 2019. And this will be blacked out, of course, if you choose the top-end black edition. But as far as the rest of the trims, the chrome will extend up here, which will bring you to the headlights. As you can see, we do have the full LED headlight cluster with the daytime running light, which bends around. Separated out is going to be your turn signal indicator. And then again, since the EXL is the base trim level, you won't be surprised to find standard LED fog lamps at the bottom. Next up, we have our wheel options, where you have quite a few different selections. The smallest size is going to be an 18-inch alloy on the EXL trim level. However, as far as the other models, they're all going to come with 20-inch alloys. It's going to be this really nice looking contrast finish for both the Touring and the Elite trim levels. And then the Special Edition and the Black Edition are going to come with a blacked out alloy. And then jumping up here to our mirrors, we do have all the features on board for this Elite trim level as well as the Black Edition. So it's going to be power folding, auto dimming, blind spot monitoring, and heating.
Here at the side of the Pilot Elite, you are going to notice several chrome elements. So we have chrome door handles, chrome window surrounds, as well as a chrome roof rail. Then coming around to the rear design of the Pilot, this is going to be the familiar design that you're used to. There hasn't been any changes for 2022. So as far as what that is, let's break that down. The taillights are going to continue to be these premium LED taillights. So all of this element is LED. This is your brake light. You also have an LED reverse light that goes across the entire back, and then you have an incandescent turn signal. And then if we drop down to the lower areas, you're going to notice that this is going to be silver on the Elite model, and you will have between a 3,500 and 5,000 pound tow rating. Honda's always really good about throwing in their entire suite of safety systems, and that's going to continue to be the case for the Pilot in 2022, since you are going to have forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, adaptive cruise control, auto high beams, and lane keeping assist standard even on the base Pilot. So the Pilot is a family vehicle through and through. So now let's go ahead and check out the inside and see all the usable stuff that Honda has thrown in there before we take it out on a spin. Before we do all of that, please hit that subscribe button down below. Also tap the notification bell.
So walking up to the Honda Pilot, with the elimination of the lower trim levels, you now have a standard smart entry system with remote start. And of course, getting inside the vehicle is as simple as just grabbing behind the handle. And then taking a look inside at the cabin. Of course, you're not going to notice any significant changes to the design. This is probably the last model year, although we don't know for sure of this generation. So most of the things are going to stay the same, of course. So now that the EXL is the standard model, that of course now means you have standard leather seats and your choice of black, gray, or beige for all the different trim levels. And then if you choose the top and black edition, that of course comes with a black interior, but it does have special red stitching and branding. Now turning over here to your door trim, it is nicely finished. We have a leather material that runs across the armrest with the stitching detail. It is soft touch right here as well as along the top, and then you got a piano black accent that runs through there. Two-person memory seating is going to be standard on EXL and above, and then we have one-touch auto up and down for the driver and the passenger windows. Heading down here to your seats, you got a standard 10-way power adjusting seat with 2-way lumbar support. And like I was already mentioning, we do have the real leather seats. As you can see, you do have the perforation inside as well as color contrast stitching. And these are very, very comfortable seats. Now, as far as the cabin materials are concerned, of course, those also carry over for 2022, so you continue to have pretty nice selection. Along the top, that's going to mean you have a soft touch plastic with a stitching detail. Moving to the middle, you've got more of this piano black trim that goes all through here around the climate controls as well as the push button start, and along through this area here with your cup holders. As far as these lower plastics, these are going to be hard touch even on the top end models such as this Elite. And then to start it up, put your foot on the brake and press the standard button. Now after you start up the Pilot, you will be greeted with this typical Honda gauge cluster design. This is going to be using a large 7-inch display right there in the middle, which of course you can reconfigure with all of these different kinds of information, including things with your safety systems and your all-wheel drive system as well. And then off to the side, you've got a couple analog gauges there to just kind of accentuate the look. Now, of course, as we come back to the steering wheel, we've got that typical Pilot design. It is going to be leather wrapped on all models since EXL is the base trim level, and you've got the piano black accents as well. As far as the adjustment, it's going to be manual on all of the models, and the Elite and Black Edition are going to throw in steering wheel heating. But let's talk about what is undoubtedly one of the Pilot's best characteristics, and that is interior storage. So unlike most of this vehicle's rivals, this actually uses what I call minivan style floating armrest. So that does free up all this space here for you to set an object. And then as far as when you slide back this cover, you have an enormous amount of space. This goes all the way down to the ground. You do have a rubber lining in it as well, and this is absolutely enormous. You also notice some connections in there as well. But just to give you a sense of the scale of this, when you stick the coupons in there, they don't even have to be folded at all. They just set flatly in there. So this is definitely very impressive. Of course, you got your two cup holders, and then up here in the front, this is going to be a nice area to stick a phone or something like that. It is a wireless phone charger as well if you choose the special edition or higher. Now pulling back here to the shifter, starting last year, all the models gained this electronic shifter no matter which trim level. Operation is very simple. You're just going to press down on D for drive. You can press again for sport mode, and all the models will also come with paddle shifters on the wheel. Pull back on the trigger there to activate reverse, and when you do, you will be greeted with this standard backup camera. As you can see, it does have active trajectory as well as 3 different views, and if you want parking sensors, that will require the Touring or above. And then for park, just press the P. This does not, however, have an electronic parking brake, so you do still have to stick, or it's the foot activated style basically. And then over here you have your drive modes as well as the button to turn off your auto start stop system. Now as we move beyond that, you will find your DVD player for the rear seat entertainment system. Mason will look at that a little later. You'll also find we have standard 3-stage heated seats, and then 3-stage ventilated seats are going to be included on those top 2 trim levels if you want that. As far as your broader climate controls, this is your standard 3-zone automatic climate control setup. Just like in the past, I've complimented this on being very simple and user-friendly. So you just use these toggles to adjust the temperature. You've got your fan speeds and zones all conveniently located right here. You can also press the rear button and make adjustments to the rear climate all from these same buttons. And now the next thing to take a look at will be our audio systems. So the EXL is going to come standard with a 6-speaker sound system. However, all the rest of the trim levels will come with a 590 watt 10-speaker sound system. And we're going to go ahead and give that a sample right now. So overall sound quality is pretty good, and I definitely appreciate having the physical volume knob. And now let's go ahead and take a look around the Honda Link infotainment system. This is your standard 8-inch display. This is running the newest version, which was updated a few years ago. Of course, we do have built-in Garmin navigation if you choose one of these higher end models. And of course, you do have standard Android Auto and standard Apple CarPlay, the wired variety, as you can see right there. As far as a few additional features, back in this 2019 refresh, it added some cool features from the Honda Odyssey. So you have the cabin talk system, which basically takes your voice from the front and brings it via the speaker system to the rear passengers, especially the third row. You also have the Wi-Fi hotspot powered by AT&T, as well as your social playlist where people in the cabin with the app can add different songs to the queue. Now jumping up here to the top, we do have a frameless auto dimming mirror with 3 HomeLink universal remotes. This is standard equipment. Right here you got your sunglass holder as well as your handy child spying camera, or mirror, excuse me. And then up here at the very top of the roof, you're going to find a sunroof as standard equipment on the EXL trim level. And if you choose the top 2 trim levels, that's additionally going to throw in the second moonroof, which has the power sunshade. As you can see, that one there goes back past the second row passengers into the third row.
Hey guys, so welcome to the rear seat of the Honda Pilot. For 2022, you're not going to see any type of change really back here, but that's certainly a good thing because the Pilot has always been one of the most practical options in the entire segment, and that means there's going to be a lot of comfort for your family. Let's talk about the space first. We have 38 inches of legroom, 40 inches of headroom. That does place it at the upper end of the segment. That is going to be a little bit behind some of the newer rivals like the Hyundai Palisade and Kia Telluride, but overall there's still lots of space. I do want to point out that we do have the captain's chairs on this model. That's because we have the higher end model, and we can slide these forward and back as well as recline them. And as far as behind Drew's seating position, I'm looking at probably 6 to 7 inches of legroom. Now turning our attention towards the features. Here in the center, we are going to actually have quite a few of them. So we have vents right here in the middle. Down below that we have our own climate controls, which is nice. You're also going to notice that we have 3-stage heated seats. That's going to be standard on the Elite and Black Edition models. And then if we drop further below that, we're going to find a household style outlet. We also have 2 charging USB ports and HDMI outlet. And you're also going to see these right here. These are wireless headphones. Honda does throw in 2 of them, and that's to go with this 10.2 inch rear seat entertainment system. So, you can play games back here, really anything to keep your family happy. And that's something that's becoming increasingly rare on new vehicles in this segment. And then over here on the door trim, we do have rear window sunshades as well as cup holders and even more door storage. All right, let's hop into the third row. So Honda has really been a pioneer in making this very easy. You just push this button, there you go. Folds the seat and slides it electrically out of the way, so that's really as easy as it gets. And then hopping back into the third row. So overall, I'm pretty comfortable. The space itself, this seat is slid all the way back, and honestly, this feels pretty spacious as far as the legroom is concerned. My knee is touching the seat back, but overall, this is not bad, and I can fit my foot up underneath of the seat in front of me, so this is not too bad. The only area that I'm going to complain about is the thigh support. This could be a little bit higher on the floor. Some of the other rivals have better thigh support. Now, as far as the features, we have vents integrated here on the side. We also have cup holders and lighting at the top. Now walking up to your tailgate, we are going to have a hands-free Power One on the upper end trims. A Power One is actually going to be standard on every single model now that they have the EXL as the base trim. So just wave your foot under the bumper to open it up, and it does work quite well. Now space is obviously a strong suit for the Pilot, so we have 17 cubic feet behind the third row seats, 47 behind the second row seats, and a maximum of 84 cubic feet. That does place it right in line with the very top end options in the segment, like the Hyundai Palisade, the Kia Telluride. Certainly a lot of space for all of your needs back here. As far as the finishings though, let's talk about that. The third row is not going to be power folding. It's just going to be the manual setup. You just grab the strap and it does fold down quite easy, and the headrest does fold automatically. Over here on the left side, we do have a 12-volt power outlet. And then if we lift up the floor, there is going to actually be quite a bit of underfloor storage. So if you're in a tight pinch, if you have to have the third row up, you can store some food back here as well. So certainly lots of space in the Pilot's area. Your passenger seat will be power adjusting on this Elite model. It's going to be 4-way power adjusting. And then as far as the glove box is concerned, this is a good sized glove box. It certainly fits in our coupons, so that's a very important part of any family SUV like this is the coupons, and they fit in there just fine, so no complaints there. And then up top, we do have a sun visor. We have mirrors integrated within, as well as some lighting, and we can detach it as well as extend it.
So there's a nice 0 to 60 acceleration in this 2022 Honda Pilot, going up a pretty steep hill. So of course we've got the same powertrain as last year. So it's going to be a 3.5 liter V6 engine, naturally aspirated, making 280 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah,
those are very competitive numbers for the class. And of course, one of the big things with this model is just having that V6 powertrain as standard equipment, so you have that smoothness, that refinement that you expect from the Honda brand, versus some of the competition which has moved into turbo 4 cylinders.
And it really just plays overall very nicely with the comfort focus of this Pilot. I mean, as you saw just going over that bridge, I mean, this is about as comfortable as money can buy. Like, I mean, there are very few vehicles that can match this level of comfort, and that's very clearly this Pilot's focus. And now that we're up to speed here, we'll get a sound level reading so we can compare to its many different rivals. .1. That's really good. That's actually, I mean, we were just in the Hyundai Palisade calligraphy, and that's going to actually be lower than that. So certainly very quiet in here, and it, like I said, it's just really incredibly comfortable.
So there was our auto start stop system that was engaging. This is standard equipment on all Pilots. Since last year, the 9-speed automatic transmission became standard equipment on all Pilots. So if you remember, there used to be a 6-speed on lower trim levels, a 9-speed on the upper trim levels. Now it's just going to be the same 9-speed automatic for all of the models. As far as this transmission, for the most part, you know, just driving around town, stuff like we've been doing in this review, you know, this is a very smooth and responsive transmission. Mm-hmm. It's a type of transmission that blends in nicely with the overall driving dynamics of this model, but when you put your foot down, you do get that additional power pretty quick.
And you are going to have standard front drive and optional all-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive is standard on this Elite as well as the Black Edition.
And since we were talking about the drivetrains as well as the auto start stop system, let's mention the fuel economy. So it's going to be rated at 22 miles a gallon combined for all-wheel drive, and then if you go for front drive, it's going to be 23 combined.
So let's talk about today's Slam Dunk and Airball. So for the Slam Dunk, I think that's a very obvious thing for this Pilot. and that is simply the refinement of the overall package. As we commented in the past, this really does kind of feel like an accurate MDX in the way it's so smooth and quiet and comfortable in here. And every step of the way, the priority is always comfort, refinement, and practicality throughout this whole vehicle.
Yeah. Now, as far as our airball is concerned, what I'm going to say I miss the most about something like this Pilot is that the luxury feel of it. We're in the fully loaded Elite model, which, has a sticker price of above $50,000, which we will talk about in just a second, but especially compared to a lot of the newer competition like the Highlander, the Telluride, the Palisade Calligraphy, stuff like that is going to have a lot more luxury than this. And I really just kind of miss that and hope that Honda goes to update, this Pilot or go for an all-new model that has a lot more luxury thrown in. And the pricing, since I was talking about that, since the 2022 Pilot is only available starting at the EXL trim level, that means the starting price for the Pilot is actually going to be $39,060 for the lineup, which does sound like a lot, but I guess that's what most people opted for anyway.
For now, there will be that new trim level later on in the year.
And then the Special Edition $39,660, Touring $43,620, the Elite $49,120, and the Black Edition $50,620. This one, after we add in the 1225 destination, is $50,345.
So all in all, no, the Honda Pilot is not the newest offering on the block, but it continues to be a strong offering for a lot of people, in the sense that the things that have always been strong suits of this model continue to be, as we've discussed all throughout this review. And of course you have that legendary Honda reliability, which makes this, a smart choice for people, many people that are looking in this category still.
Well guys, that's going to be all for the in-depth review of the 2022 Honda Pilot fully loaded Elite model. If you enjoyed watching this, please hit that subscribe button down below. Also like, comment, and message us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, all of the different social media platforms. Go ahead. We don't use Facebook or Twitter. We don't use Facebook or Twitter.
Have a Twitter. Go ahead, like, comment, and message me on Instagram.
Anyway, we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies. Yeah, and this engine is just so smooth. It really plays very nicely with the rest of the vehicle because this is one of the smoothest cars that money can buy, period. And what?